Okay, and here we go. So, this is a different style of video. I wanted to make a video on Slayer in particular, a character that I think is very misunderstood and I think hated in the eyes of a lot of people. I mean, you go on Twitter, you see the damage, the TODs, you know, all the argument about, you know, is he just damage? Is his neutral's good, his buttons broke? So I kind of just wanted to get it out the way. So I got Yata on the mic. Say hello, Yata.
Hello. How are y'all?
Obviously, Yata just got back from EVO. I believe he was the only Slayer to make top 24 at EVO over 2,000 entrants, which is huge, especially on a newer character. But yeah, so since you understand the character, you know, so well to a level, I wanted to get some questions out the way. One of them being about, I mean, his damage, right? I mean, I think that's the first, like, where we can start off. Talk to me about,
Of course,
his damage and how consistent it is to see the clips that you see on Twitter, like the huge damage, the loops,
It is very easy to get into rounds where you just win off of one touch, especially if it's like round 3 and your opponent just used burst for some reason, like in round 2. It is realistic for Slayer to do CS OTG into a 50-50 into the round is over.
Yeah,
His damage off of his Oki is quite ridiculous. If he has 50 meter or if he just hits you with a CS cross up into the round is over.
Is there a tell on that cross up there or no?
Technically there is, but it is not realistically possible to block the cross up consistently, because I can micro walk and delay the timing. So there's 2 variables you have to look out for which side I'm coming out to. And realistically, you're not looking at those variables quick enough in an actual match to block the correct side.
Got you. Okay. And I guess one thing I want to get out the way as well. I know he didn't get any specific changes like to him. Obviously, this patch was meant for weaker characters that need to reach their potential, like Johnny, Pot, you know. So talk to me, do you believe he is better this patch? Maybe with like, not buffs to him, but maybe like, you know, DPRC getting nerfed and, you know, the Wild Assault and burst changes. How does that look and stack up for him?
So I believe he is much stronger this patch. The DPRC, it's kind of nice for stagger pressure against like Soul and Leo, but it's not too relevant since you can teleport and like dandy step past them.
Yep.
But not getting hit by, for example, a Happy Chaos 2K or just any red Wild Assault button into wall break and hard knockdown snowball is very huge for Slayer.
Yeah.
Slayer doesn't mind losing the hard knockdown too much. His Oki was kind of gimmicky after hard knockdown, and it's not too important to him compared to him getting snowballed, where he has mediocre defense without meter. It's much more important for him not to get snowballed than to him to be able to snowball, since he does so much damage anyways.
Got you. Okay. And I guess, you know, there is the conversation that he is just damage, right? Like, oh, well, Slayer's neutral, you know, it's not the greatest. So talk to me about his neutral, like his buttons, and obviously I guess the elephant in the room, K-Mappa.
Yeah. K-Mappa is a very funny button. It does a lot of things players very much dislike in fighting games, which is understandable. At this range, it limits all of your options to jump, backdash to get out of range, or dash block, and that's not really fun. Because if you block right there, or if you press right there, you're instantly counter hit for game.
Yeah.
So you have to evade it in some way, which lets me get space in other ways.
Got you. Yeah, it's I do agree on I don't think it's something people like. I think it's a very, like, they block it and they're like, man, I just want my turn, man. Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, so what about his buttons? Obviously, he doesn't really have like a typical like far slash, right? It's kind of meant for pressure specifically, but in replacement for that, he has his 5K, and then the button.
This move is ridiculous. And then the elephant in the room.
Yep, there it is.
Frame low crush. This move is ridiculous. The only weakness it has is it's low actives, but it doesn't matter. But like, this move is ridiculous.
Yeah.
When you're inside of this range, like some counterplay to Mappa, I don't recommend it too much, but you can 6P, but when you're in 2H range, you can't even do that, because then you get blocked.
Yeah, then you get clipped, yeah, and then you get the loop started from there, you know, yeah. Not very fun. What about Slayer as a character in terms of difficulty? Do you believe he's an easier character to pick up? Do you think he's harder to pick up in the middle? Is he easy to learn, hard to
All right.
master? Where does he fall on that scale?
It's kind of weird because I think overall he's relatively easy, but
Mhm.
he has a lot of tricks you need to learn at higher level, or else you're just gonna be like trolling rounds away. But before like tournament play, he's probably one of the easier characters to learn because you can just get away with just doing this all game,
Yeah.
or like pile bunker into GG's all game.
Yeah.
But later on, you're gonna need to learn to start doing fancier stuff like Kara bites into BRC.
Yes.
If I had meter, I'd do that, but you know.
That is one thing I actually wanted to ask about the Karas. How important is that to him?
For my playstyle, I think it's very important, but I've seen Slayers get by real far without them. Kara bite is by far the most important because it makes his command grab much more usable. Because the range on it actually isn't that good. Like Naga would bite you from here, but once you Kara it, it becomes ridiculous range. The other Karas, this one everyone should be doing. I think it is easy enough that with about 10 minutes of practice, you can do it no matter what.
Yeah.
This is just a TK input with your dash. And then Kara Dandy Step, I understand, and Kara Bite, I understand fucking up.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if I can say that, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
Messing up. Even I mess it up if I'm not warmed up. But, for example, Kara Dandy Step is the one that people don't understand the most.
Yeah.
But let's say you're knocked down from around this range. Oh, sorry. Like this range.
Yeah.
The only way I can cross you up with a meaty is the Kara Dandy Step. I don't know why that didn't cross up, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Oh, okay, I see.
It's like normal P Dandy Step wouldn't reach, dash would be too slow, and like you want to cross up for a mix, so
Yeah.
it's the only way you can.
Got you. And I guess for someone that's obviously played, just a lot of people in general, what's the biggest thing that you are able to knowledge check with Slayer? Like something that it's like, okay, like I get he's a little, it gets, the mental stack and everything, but you should at least be checking this to like not lead to these messed up situations that he puts you in.
All right, I think there's two things. The first thing that looks really off to everyone, including me, is this.
Yeah.
The fact that he can special cancel his 2D. This is basic, but it wins me like 80% of matches that people don't know because they just want to mash on 2D instantly or grab it. They will get counter hit, and you take 50%. There's RPS here, but it's weighted towards you blocking rather than you mash it.
Got you. Okay.
After 2D. So the RPS for the viewers is I can technically command grab after 2D,
Yeah.
but you can fuzzy jump it or just like take the grab over getting. Can you mash after this?
Yeah.
This time. Into the round's over, right?
Yeah.
Like the disparity in reward is ridiculous, and obviously he can do some other gimmicks, but they're not as important as those two.
Yeah, I think I think the gimmicks he's allowed to do with the reward off the gimmicks is what people get upset about, because I feel like they're blocking, right? And let's say they get hit by like Master's Hammer, and their brain is like all over the place. They're like, oh shoot, what do I do? Like is it gonna do a cross up? Is it gonna do this? What do I kind of like. They're not able. Their brain isn't able to catch up to the situation that's going on, and then they just get hit by something, and then they're like, "Oh, I just died." Right. So what's the other thing that you knowledge check with that
So meterless dandy step. A lot of the time, if I don't have meter on this move, and you actually see it out, unless you're in the corner, you can either take PB or backdash. Backdash will be. So if you take PB, that means to mash on it, right?
Yeah.
But otherwise, backdash for me. A lot of timings here. Wow, I'm hitting your timing really hard somehow. Anyways, I'll try it again. But there you go.
Okay.
Every follow-up on Dandy Step has 3 or less active frames. I believe they're all 3.
Gotcha.
So backdashing it into like a back throw or a punish is relatively reasonable.
Gotcha.
The only thing that catches us out is meterless hit Master's Hammer, and this does not matter.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd rather get hit by this move than block it, because at least I'm not getting guard crushed, and you take like 20 damage compared to the guard crush, and you backdash the rest of the follow-ups and punish Slayer for doing them.
Okay, so basically the mind game is if he has meter, then everything can be. Oh, sorry, without meter, like without going to pile bunker, which is obviously very unsafe on block. It's your RPS. You're basically mashing or backdashing all the follow-ups, and And then if he does pile bunker, obviously you get counter hit, but it's a risk for him without
Yes.
meter because it's so negative on block.
Yeah, and technically he can also just do whiff into nothing, but in this game this is too laggy to reasonably do that much. It loses to fuzzy mesh, but that also loses to pile. It's extended RPS, but it's something to know.
Okay, and I believe though, so I know you can, so off Dandy, you can mash on the overhead and the low or backdash like you said, but what about Master's Hammer? Because I do believe, doesn't that not go over your normal? Or
Yes, so it goes over a lot of normals. This is something I recommend not doing every time, because it has counterplay. But you can do mash, like if I just do this, you can press any button, like even like FS if you have the read on it or whatever. And then you can beat Master's Hammer with either jump or grab.
Yes, yes, the grab.
Yes. Grabbing it is hard but reasonable. It's hard on good Slayers when they're not just doing it every time.
Oh, I fucked up the timing.
And it's a hard timing,
Yeah.
but the reward on it is worth it if you practice it.
There it is, yeah.
Because you win, like you get so much advantage in the round if you hit that grab. And it also deters me from doing my evasive follow-up out of Dandy stuff, which is really nice for me to do. So it's just something to know.
What
So
about backdashing it?
backdashing Master's Hammer, if you don't have meter, you probably will get hit. That's just life. It is delayed from the other follow-ups enough where it will probably hit the end of your backdash. The benefit to that is you're not blocking it. And blocking Master's Hammer, like I said earlier, is actually worse than taking the hit on it. Because you're like minus, I believe it's 27 or 28. It's something ridiculous.
Gotcha.
And Slayer has so many gimmicks that instantly win the round off of a guard crush.
I think that's, again, I think that goes back to like the gimmick. Like once you block it, it's like, okay, he's obviously closer to plus 30, but he's like passing through me. He's, you know, can go high, low, you know, so it's like, again, it's kind of that scramble state where it's just like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Do I mash throw? Do I, you know?
Yeah.
What about the command grab? So obviously you get put in kind of like, once you land the command grab, you get put in kind of like the stain state, right? Where it's obviously called universe. Yeah. What are the RPS options after the command grab, whether it's in the corner or mid screen? Yeah, what does that look like?
So in the mid screen, backdash is a relatively decent RPS point. It gets you out a lot of the time. Don't do it every time, because I can catch it with a read, but it lets you live. And I have to do, if I want to cover both blocking and backdash, I have to do something low reward. So for example, this FS is technically like, oh, it should not hit backdash here, instant matcher. I'm like +2 or 3 here after that FS, but I'm at this range, so it's not that good. I'll only be able to press 5k. You can RPS between blocking, mashing if you want to, and backdashing, where if you backdash, I have to hard commit to something like 6H, and I kill you here.
Yeah,
I don't remember the round, but you die.
Yeah.
Or beating mash or beating blocking, right? Where blocking is just I do a mix up to try and open you up. Something that more Slayers are doing, which shout outs to them, it's this.
Oh, sure.
This is Kara P Dandy after bite. This beats both backdash and typically blocking if the opponent isn't ready for it. But this can be mashed.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't recommend DPing after this fight if you're a DP character, by the way. This will beat instant DP, so you have to use your eyes and DP later.
Gotcha. Okay. And then what about in the corner? Does the RPS change? Obviously, it's probably better for him in the corner. What does that look like?
Yeah, it's a lot better for him in the corner. It's not really RPS if you don't have like a DP.
Gotcha.
I just CS and you don't get to play the game.
His super Mappa Hunch is pretty slow, but we know that there is a clean hit mechanic to it. And then the meme, The Last Horizon. What about, talk to me about, yeah, there it is. Yeah, this.
This move is funny.
Talk to me about
what do you want to know about it?
I want to know, okay, one, how, in your eyes, how good of a super do you think it is by how realistic it is to actually land?
There are definitely rounds you get it, where you snowball one wall break into win the next interaction into GG's. Or if it's an extended round, and like both of you are at around 75 HP. I believe the most recent one of this is Razo versus Umisho yesterday. Where you trade, let's say both of you are at 75%, you're just about to get 100 meter, and you trade pile bunker, and the round's over off of it. That's a huge point in its favor.
Yeah.
The best part about the super by far, the best parts are that it negate bursts, and it's the best move after a wall stick in the game. I don't know if it's worth it over like having a utility super, but it still has its uses.
Got you. And what about the other one, Super Mappa Hunch? Because this one is a slower super, but talk to me about how good it is.
You almost never use it as a straight up reversal unless you have a hard read on like a CS or something.
Yeah.
But this is one of the best supers to just have in general. In this current version, one of, if not the best reversal type in the game is Super PRC.
Yeah.
It has interaction, but it's really annoying to deal with, and it's a very good get out of jail free card. And otherwise, the super, it's a looming presence. Let's say you're like Asuka or Axel trying to do Rensen or Cube. If I have eyes, I can just reaction super, and now I'm in advantage state as Slayer, and I get to play the game. Just for 50.
Yeah, not very fun. I've definitely had my fair share of getting hit by their super, but what about his health? So obviously he's a tankier character. I think that's another reason why people don't like him. You know, even it's like, oh dang, I got my turn started, he's still alive. Oh, I got one chance. What overall, where do you think he stands in the meta? Like, I'm not asking you to place him on a tier list, but if you had to, obviously there's the top tiers. And then, like, the characters that have a good chance to win. And I guess that includes, like, solo characters. So where do you believe
solo maining this character is fine, in my opinion. There's, like, maybe one matchup that's annoying or two. I think this character is very strong this match. I mean, we're already seeing results. Admittedly, mine are worse. But, like, Razo's and Creator's results this match have been amazing. I think this character is very good. I would not place him top 1, but maybe he will be. Who knows? He is pretty ridiculous. And to loop back around to your original question about HP, I don't know why I have this much HP. I'm going to be so real, audience. It feels slightly wrong. I feel like I should be, like, taking one less interaction per round to die than I do.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else you want to throw in there in terms of maybe some other looming counterplay that other people get hit by, or anything else you want to say about Slayer that people should know?
If you're not confident in grabbing this just yet, which is reasonable, it's really hard to, just jump. It does lose to S follow-up because S follow-up is broken, but it's better than just losing the round off of blocking it. And sometimes if he just sends this, you get a punish instead, or at least like get your turn.
Obviously, when you think of Slayer from the older game, you think of his backdash. But in this game, the backdash is pretty not good from what I've heard.
Yeah.
But he does they wanted to keep his identity of the backdash god, and there it is. The backdash cancel. So talk to me about that move.
So it is definitely a move you have to use your brain while using most of the time, at least if you're not like memeing. If you just throw it out there, you're probably gonna get killed. At some spacings, it's actually just really good as a poke because it's not that punishable. It's only -7, but it's variable. It's not guaranteed -7, so at that range, it's like -5. Overall, though, there are some niche defensive uses to it. One of the more important ones I can think of is after Happy Chaos gun flip. It creates RPS, where if you do instant backdash cancel, you can backdash the shot and force them to frame trap you with like a 2K. And if they do like roll or something, they get counter hit. It has a bunch of niche uses like that. It's not something that's in his main game plan though. You'd rather be blocking.
Oh, okay. And it's also a combo tool, correct? Because it does it.
Oh, yes, you're right. Yeah. So after using metered dandy step, it's the best way to get into loops after in the corner.
Okay.
It looks really funny. I don't know why they gave it a wall bounce. I cannot lie. But they did, so you can just go into 2S into loops.
There you go.
As such.
And obviously, I think the last thing I wanted to talk about. So it's the going back to the dandy step follow-up. So obviously the overhead and the low, they're both. So the overhead guard crushes and the low doesn't, but they're both combined. They're both -4. What is are there some things Slayer can do afterward? Oh, is it 2? Okay. Are there some things Slayer can do afterwards to RPS?
Yes. Okay. At this range, block overhead. At this range, this is the most fake minus ever. It is basically not minus. I have more options than you do at this range, at -2 or 3.
Yeah.
I'm actually checking for sanity real quick. It's -2.
Okay.
So if you block this, either way, I'm just doing low now. At this range, like right here, I can't do anything if you 2p unless I do like super or something.
Yeah.
Or like versus Gold Lewis, I can 6p his 2p, but that's very niche, right?
Yeah.
Overall, like if I tried to dandy step right here again, I would get clipped. If I tried to like 5k or 2p, unless you're slow, I will get clipped. But depending on the range, like if you FD it or what you should be FDing Slayer in the corner, I'm gonna do overhead for the rest of this so you're not getting mixed. At this range specifically, I can just do another dandy step, or I can do 5k or 6k if I'm feeling bold, or 2d, or 2h, or anything, right? Like, it's very much in my favor, even though I'm quote-unquote minus. It's fake minus.
Okay, and what about the overhead? Is there ever a time when you do the overhead and then go into dandy again, or?
Yes, all the time.
Yeah.
Like that. On overhead PRC, you do this anyways for the combo. If you're fighting like Faust or Potemkin, it won't work on Zato, and I'm messing it up right now. You can actually fuzzy with JS here. It's not too important, but if you're fighting tall characters like even Anji, I did it on Adventure recently, it works. So that's nice to know.
Oh, okay. Nice.
For the Slayer players out here.
I guess overall, and this will be the last thing, what do you think, like, if you had to put Slayer's playstyle into one, so like obviously he's not a zoner, is he?
Yeah.
What do you categorize him as?
This is a weird word, but he has propulsion or like threat range. He's like a burst character, especially if you've played like Smash. For the Smash players out there, he has so much threat range that he can abuse it and do anything else. Like you're not gonna. I have a problem with this because I'm carried, but you shouldn't be doing K-Mappa every time. You should be using the threat of K-Mappa to like just straight up dash in, or do like dandy step in, or stuff like that. Yeah, kind of, yes. Like pre-patch White Wild Assault. Not invincible, it's not as funny, but this move is still broken.
The threat.
I don't feel like that's the biggest part of his playstyle. And then if you're patient enough, you'll eventually get a gimmicky opening or just a straight up mix opening, and the round will be yours. You will one-shot someone with just a little bit of risk.
Yeah.
Shout out to Zato HD. Oh, anyways.
Yeah. I believe that's everything. He's kind of went over everything from his neutral, his pressure, how to get around some of the key things that people might be getting clipped by. So I will put Yata's, his Twitch, if he ever does stream. I don't believe you do, but I'll still put it on there.
It's been like a year.
I'll put his Twitter and his Discord on the screen in case you want to get in touch with him. It's probably obviously the best Slayer we have in NA. Obviously coming off his placing in Razo or Yata, one of them, right?
Test it. Anyways,
we'll put his Discord and Twitter and all the socials on the screen. You can get in contact with him there. But yeah, thank you for coming on, and that will do it. Thank you.